So you already used CAT's material atlaser or a different kind of material atlaser in order to put your materials together into one. And you should have received a texture that looks sort of like this, where, for example, you have different body parts on different parts of the file. However, you will notice that it only does this for the diffuse texture. It does not do this for any like normal map, shine map, anything like that. Fortunately, that's not automatic, but I have a method to kind of make this easier for myself when it comes to atlasing the rest of those textures. What I do is that in Photoshop or an image editor of your choice, I generally put that atlas texture in as the first layer, and then I will put textures such as the roughness texture, anything else in, and match them up into those corners. As you can see, this one's very edited because I've done a lot to this one. Say this was our original output texture here. And I would open the original PSD for the body, for example. Here it is. And I would take all of these and actually duplicate the layers onto the atlas. And then what you can do is group those together into a new folder. And in this case, it would need to be stretched as well. If this happens, just resize the image manually before 4096, before copying it over. Don't scale it like that, but just for the example's sake. I will stick the entire PSD in there, just to make it easier for myself to edit if I want to make changes later. And similarly, when it comes to material maps, for example, for this hat, what I would do is I would actually just include whatever materials I want with it and kind of just copy, paste, layer it over top with any other layers you have for this particular texture, and then just duplicate it over. Just duplicate onto that atlas and move it into place. And Photoshop should do a good job of snapping it for you. Here is my roughness map. The eyes are shiny, the hooves are slightly shiny, the mushroom cap is speckled but shiny, and the body is not shiny at all. My roughness texture was actually created after I already created the atlas, so in this way I only filled in the areas with the exact values that I wanted them to be, which gave me the amount of control that I wanted over making each one separately. So in this case, you know, say this is the only normal map we had, but this is an atlas texture. If we left it blank, it would look weird. So what we want to do is fill in the rest of the space, and here we go. Here's our normal map texture. For normal maps, what you want is the blue purple color, and it's probably fine. If you don't get the exact color, it'll be fine. Now, for example, we have an emissive texture here. What this is this is a texture that's also a mask. The black is the mask that is keeping everything else in that area from being emissive. So in the situation where we're having to do something like a mask, what we would do is duplicate this over, drag it into the right place. Hopefully it's the right size. Now what I can do is set this mask up so it works with this existing texture, but then I can also make the surrounding area, everything behind it, black. There we go, finally. So this would be our mask if we were masking out just the eyes for something. Like, for example, imagine that this was a mask so that just the eyes were emissive, and you don't need any of that color information. You just need this to be white, so you'd have this area white, everything else would be black. Else, if this area was white as well, that would become emissive.